And that's crazy because the moment you said that, your camera's on. If you didn't know that, Brian, I don't know if you want your camera on or not.
It's okay.
You're welcome to have it on though.
It's
So
cool.
and then it's so funny because the moment you said Billy Graham, somebody typed it in the chat room. The same time you said it.
Well, I actually got that from Salted Cedar from the chat room. He reminded me about that. That's why I was like, yeah, good one, Salty. And then I brought it up. So maybe somebody else was mentioning it too. But yeah, that's kind of weird anyway. But there's always synchronicities, right? How about you, Brian? What do you know about synchronicities? Anything there going on with you, like strange happenings, like where people say something? And
yes. Yes. Amen to that.
Yeah. Good.
It is really funny because just the other day, somebody sent me pour some sugar on May, like on the May calendar. It was like a joke or whatever. And then I hear that song like not much long after that. I don't know if it's just maybe social media or could it be the collective conscious. There are times where I feel like I can connect to the collective. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, and I think in some ways we can. I mean, we all know that God knows what's running the internet now, if it's a D-Wave computer or not. But one thing for sure is if, try it sometime. Try talking around your phone about, I don't know, something you've never talked about, like RC cars or something. And your friend up and talk to them about it. And notice, like, I've noticed this, like the ads will pop up on Google or whatever I'm searching. On the sidebar, there'll be like RC car ads or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's strange. I didn't really look for that stuff, so why is it popping up? It was just talking about it. So I wonder sometimes if they are not using voice recognition type software and actually taking this stuff and then filtering it in for advertisement purposes.
I have a question for Brian.
Sure.
Brian, do you see any like code in these changes? Because you're looking at the logos a lot. You're looking at the changes and the morphing of the letters. Have you seen anything that's like consistently showing any kind of a code so far?
So far, I'm seeing 11s, 22s, and 33s in almost everything. The way the M's and the W's, you guys, you notice like Mountain Dew, the W, you see W and M, one's pointing up, one's pointing down.
As above, so below. Uh-huh.
Yes, I'm seeing that a lot, especially with like Subway. Subway wasn't always like that. You can't tell me it was always like that.
With the arrows?
With the arrows, you got one to the right, one to the left. I'm seeing a lot of 6s in logos. Are you guys seeing a lot of 6s?
Yeah. There's that. I don't know if you guys have seen the Audi. Apparently, the Audi's D used to be a backwards 6.
Yes, that's a huge one. There's another one that I found that I haven't heard anyone mention. Have you guys heard of DQ Fan Food?
No.
You know that $5 deal they have now? Like, it used to be just at lunchtime, but now you can get it, I think, anytime. And the D, if you look at the Fan Food D, it has a 6 on it.
When you say DQ, do you mean Dairy Queen?
Dairy Queen, that's correct.
Oh, I know, yeah, okay, I've heard of Dairy Queen. Sure, we have them here in Texas. I haven't seen that, but that's interesting, right? Somebody else brought one up to me. I'm going to throw this your way too, since you seem to be the logo guy. Somebody mentioned to me the ABBA logo. Like, so remember ABBA was A, B, and then a backwards B, and then an A, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got evidence where I've got some residual of just A, B, B, A, and that's with the band right underneath that. Now, that's crazy to me because the ABBA didn't. So I don't know if this is a flip-flop, sort of like we're in transition sort of thing, but yeah, that's one new one for me.
Yeah, I heard somebody mention that to me about ABBA. I'm just trying to pull up the image now so I can look at it with you guys.
Yeah, you find a lot of them still have the backwards B, but then there's a few out there without the backwards B. And I'm like, what's going on? I don't know what the heck's happening here.
Now, I remember sort of one letter being backwards. It's like my immediate memory wants to tell me it was always like that. Yeah, ABBA was one of those strange ones. But here's one I want you to look at. You know Dexter Freebish? Are you familiar with Dexter Freebish? A 90s grunge band?
No, actually. Sorry, I can't say that I do remember them now.
Look at their logo, and not to mention Puddle of Mud. Pull up Puddle of Mud and Dexter Freebish and tell me if they've always been like that. You guys still see me? I'm looking like on a different tab altogether.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Yep, we see it.
Cool. Yeah, you guys see Puddle of Mud? Does that look weird to you or what?
You know what? I can't even speak to that one, brother. It does look odd, but I'm not sure 100% on that. Maybe Angela can speak on that because she was like into grunge bands and doing the mosh pit.
I remember there being 2 Ds, but I don't remember them being pointed in the opposite direction like that. That's just totally weird. And Dexter Freebish.
In the 90s, it didn't seem like they did that very often. It seems like it's a new thing now to like flip the letters around. I guess ABBA did it, but I don't know. I just didn't see that type of logo. I can't really think of too many like that. Like most people spelled things out, the way they should be, and then maybe jazzed up the letters a little bit. But now it seems like there's a lot of backwards this and that going on, right?
Oh, so the D's are both backwards. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, another one. Yeah. Here's another one for you guys to look at. Somebody mentioned this to me on my page. Go-Gurt. Look at Go-Gurt. It has that arrow like a male symbol on the Go-Gurt.
Oh no, like my Volvo.
Yep, just like the Volvo.
Dude, my Volvo, I know, right? Somebody mentioned to me about the Volvo. They said,
"Oh wow!"
With all this stuff going on about in the feminist movement, why didn't they start complaining about the Volvo years ago with the males?
Right.
Like, honestly, do you think that would have been an issue?
Go-Gurt looks like a 666 to me.
Oh really? Let me look at it again.
Now, what is Go-Gurt? Is Go-Gurt like some sort of?
It's like a yogurt in a squeeze pack for kids.
Now, have you guys?
Your bisphenol A here, yum yum yum.
On that one, I thought about of all places, McDonald's, calling them up and asking. Have you guys ever thought about doing this, like doing interviews with people, like people that work there, and see what they have a memory of without them looking? I know it's tempting for them to look and. They'll say it's always been like that.
How about this, Brian? I mean, let's talk a little bit about your experience working for CHIC-FIL-A and how your name changed, your name badge changed.
Yes. It never had the chicken.
You used to work for Chick-fil-A, right?
I worked there from 1996 through 2001, and it didn't used to have the chicken, and the K was not there. And then I went to the mall like this past weekend, and I'm filming Chick-fil-A, and I don't remember that K being bent at the bottom. It's like it bent, forming a 6. You guys remember that? It looking like a 6 on the K? I'm dead serious.
The K on the Chick-fil-A is changing too.
Yes, look at the K on Chick-fil-A. You'll see it's an upside down 6. I don't remember it being bent like that when it had the K. I mean, when it first got the K is what I'm saying. That just looks so weird. It's so obvious too.
Like to me, Brian, you got to check this out. All right, so we know Google has that crazy E that's flipped up. That's what it looks like to me. To me, it looks like the E that's kicked upward, right?
Yes.
And then if you go look at the Century 21 logo, look at Century 21, brother. You gotta see that, dude. That's a huge change. You'll do a video on this. I'm telling you.
I'm looking at that one now.
Look at that. Look at Century 21. Look at the E, dude. And the E is kicked up, bro. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, that is.
Oh, holy crap! And it's connected to the C.
And it was not like that.
Yeah. Now,
sorry, bro.
you guys see my Applebee's video I did, right? Where I actually said it looks like a 6 from the top of the A down, and now the Applebee's. A and the P is disconnected?
No, I missed that one, bro.
The P is. Look at Applebee's. Tell me that looks wrong to you.
check out the Applebee's.
So real quick, Brian. So your phone was, I mean, your mic was cutting out while you were telling the Chick-fil-A story. But you
Yes,
worked
sir.
for Chick-fil-A, and when you worked there, you know that it was CHIC. Is that correct?
Yes, I can assert to that.
That's awesome. An employee from Chick-fil-A, and you remember your name badge, obviously, like in your video. If you guys will go check out his video sometime, Brian talks about how his name badge reflected that name, and now he's in. Do you have that badge around somewhere, Andy?
I do. I can go get it real quick.
Can
Hold
you
on.
show it to us right now? Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, so Brian, when he worked there, he remembers his name badge being CHIC, and now he's going to show you that it's got the K on there.
Okay, I got it right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me put it close up to the camera. Look at that. It's reversed, but look at it. It's changed due to the Mandela Effect. And you know what's crazy? What's crazy is this Mandela Effect is not just affecting. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
No, what I was going to say was I asked my wife at the time. I asked her. I said, "Okay, Chick-fil-A, you do see this, right? About the K?" She said it's always had the K. There's a lot of things like JC Penn.
Wow.
It's split up. It split up my relationships. Have you guys noticed anything weird like that?
Well, Brian, there was a lady, and I wasn't sure if she was, putting out a video. I didn't know until I watched the video, but she said something about her husband's changed, right?
Yes.
And I watched this lady talk. Did you see that one where it's a very heartfelt video. You can tell the pain in her eyes,
Yeah.
I felt like she wasn't lying. I felt like she was talking about her husband who always knew this story. And, she went back to mention the story to him again. She said that I've been this man for 20 some odd years. He's always how people are together, we always kind of recite the same thing we remember. Well, she's heard it a bunch, and she went back to ask him about it, and he totally didn't even remember the story. And I thought, oh my gosh. And so she was like, well, is this the man I married? Who is this? And it's kind of like, dang, it's like, that is kind of tough. And I think we've all had good and bad with that particular thing happening. I know that some people in my life I have seen change for the better and act different and be just better caring people, and then other times I've seen pretty awful people. And so it's kind of weird how that happens. But I would say close to me, man, my mom, when I hit her up with the Mandela Effect, bro, she knew everything the way it is now. She remembers it. And my mom, I know she will remember things, right? Because my mom is a really smart lady, She's good at the crossword. She does crossword puzzles too. She does the New York Times crossword puzzle. Okay, that girl can knock that thing out. And I'm telling you, man, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm sure my mom will remember. Well, it's weird because I finally got a chink in the armor on Thanksgiving Day when I invited her over. I knew she knew about crossword puzzles, so I said, Mom, how do you spell dilemma? And she spelled it, M-N-A, right? And not just the M-M-A the way it is now. Yeah. So I was like, that's what I'm talking about, Mom. It's never been that way. And she, and I started seeing the gears turning a little bit. So I kind of had hope that maybe once she starts seeing these effects, that maybe some of her visualizations and memories are coming from television. I believe that is unfortunately taken hold of a lot of people. And when you sit there and watch TV and those commercials, you're being mind controlled. And I believe that sometimes that's why a lot of people are accepting the new logos the way they are.
That's correct. I believe the same thing. I think some of these Mandela effects have actually been going on since probably 2001. Like the Berenstain Bears. I seen somebody go on the Wayback Machine, and they actually pulled up web pages from 2001. It actually saying Berenstain with a Berenstein, just the way we remember it. But it was from like 2001, so that one may have shifted a long time ago. And then we're seeing these commercials like Choosy Moms Choose Jif. So we've been brainwashed to remember Jif.
I would agree. Yeah, and I think Angela will speak on that. I think she saw some cereal
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw the Captain Crunch change when in 1989, and Fruit
Wow.
Loops changed in 1991 for me.
So
Yes.
you guys, back to the people situation.
Yes.
We've got a mix-up, but more than likely, we've got people from the Sagittarius arm and people from Orion arm. And what a great thing and what a disaster that could be when you take people from two different universes and mix them together. I mean, if there's multiple versions of ourselves, and that's what's happening, we're being switched. Or a version of us dies, and then we merge with the other reality. We go from the Sagittarius arm to the Orion arm. I mean, I don't know. I'm just doing the hypothesis thing.
Yeah, I know, and that's all we can go by. Again, I'm.
I mean, there's stories of exactly this, of people saying this is not my original person, and I may not be. In fact, I may not. I feel like a different version of me. You hear that a lot of times too.
I'm not ready. Yeah, I'm not ready to accept the body changes just yet. That still freaks me out. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just like, dude, seriously. Like, I have another layer of the eye, the mesentery, all the strange stuff where the heart is and all that. It's like, I'm just, man. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, I think we should have never started to research flat Earth. That's where this all started.
Yes.
Why did we ever look at that stuff?
See, I came in the back way because I researched Mandela and then fell into. I landed on a plane.
So let me ask you guys: who in this group that we're talking right now? Who in this group that is talking with us right now? Discover the Mandela Effect on their own without even looking at YouTube or anything? That's what I want to know. Did anyone actually in this group like catch the changes? Like notice things were different? Did you feel something was different?
I noticed stuff, but I didn't really know that it was the Mandela Effect. I think I'd seen it. Yeah. No, yeah, actually, I think I saw Chick-fil-A shift because I saw the building shift and the name shift before I knew the Mandela Effect was real.
I just figured maybe it was a trademark thing. I'm sorry.
I saw two things. I saw I remember when the lights flipped, and I remember thinking to myself, there's something wrong with it. I told Life about this. I said, there's something wrong with those lights, man. But I didn't, equate it with Mandela Effect. I just thought they, there was something different about them, and it just didn't dawn on me. And then the other one that was really weird to me was when I went to go, I was looking at riding mowers, and the John Deere with the extra E on the end.
Yes.
I was like, when did John Deere change their name? And I remember that, and I started thinking, well, maybe it's just a different, maybe it's always been that way. And I just wrote it off as, well, I'm misremembering, like everyone else.
Yeah, I actually went.
Yeah, and like I said, in '89, I saw those serials change, but I didn't know it was the effect. I just assumed the company had done it.
And that's the majority of people out there. They just think, oh, okay, the company changed the logo.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too with Chick-fil-A. Maybe like a son or a grandson took over the business kind of thing, and they just renamed it for tax purposes. That's all I thought. But then you look back at a photograph. You look back at a photograph from Chick-fil-A from 1967, and it's always been like that. And I'm freaking out over it.
Right, absolutely. No,
and
that's
so,
just pretty smart, yeah.
I was just saying, Brian, have you gone back and talked to your former colleagues at Chick-fil-A?
Yes. Yes. Are you there? Oh, crap. Hey guys, sorry about that. Got disconnected for a sec. Sorry.
No worries.
Oh, that's okay. No, my question was, have you talked to any of your former colleagues at Chick-fil-A about this situation?
Yes. This lady, she's been with the company for 23 years. All right, I woke her up in October. She looked down at the floor mat and she's like, like she had one of those moments, like when you first realize something's different. since then I've been trying to ask for her, and I haven't had any luck. Like maybe she doesn't want to know. Like maybe she's just being a little ignorant of the truth. But she remembers Chick-fil-A with a C, just like me. That's crazy.
That's awesome. And then, there are a lot of people that remember CHIK. So apparently there's a timeline of reality where there was a CHIK reality for Chick-fil-A.
I'll see if I can pull out I've got my yearbook where people have signed. Can you hear me?
Yes. It's cutting out a little bit here and there, but yes, we can hear you.
I've got my yearbook where I don't have to show you, but I can if you want. But people have signed Chick-fil-A. One person put with a C and the other person put with a K. It's strange. And then one person put CK. So what am I to believe? Whether they remember. So again, we're all.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is, Angela. So what is your background, Angela?
So, I just am a researcher. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything like that. I'm a busy mom and I'm a makeup artist amongst other things. So I don't really have the time to put into videos, but I love researching it. Going back to what you said about kind of freaking out, I found out in July of 2016. And,
Wow.
I walked around wide-eyed thinking people were time traveling. Like, I was really freaked out. And I had to just let it go for a minute.
Yeah.
And I came back to it a few months later where I could have, like, a clear head and just kind of really absorb what was going on.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys who all, I'm sure you guys all have, loved ones. How is it affecting them? Have they presented it to you? You're trying to present it to them? Have they accepted it?
Well, go ahead, Angela.
Oh, yeah. My husband is now at least a little supportive. He, for months, every time I'd bring it up, I'd say, the Mandela Effect. And he'd say, oh, what is that? And I would tell him. And then I'd tell him a few days later, oh, there's this new effect. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, Mandela Effect. And he's like, what's that? It was like he couldn't even keep it in his brain. And finally, when I started doing these broadcasts, and I really explained, what was going on, and I was researching and doing this stuff. He kind of got on board a little bit. And the next day after I did our first broadcast, I was looking for this hairbrush, right? It was like a $30 hairbrush, and I was looking for it everywhere. I tore my car apart. I tore the house apart. The brush was nowhere to be found. And the very next day, I was going to put my daughter in her car seat, and laying right there, right next to her car seat, was the brush.
Oh
and I
my
was
God!
like,
wow,
dude, I know this was not here yesterday. I tore this car apart. I looked under seats. I looked under everything. It was not here. And I told my husband the story, and he's like, "Oh, you got Mandela'd." So he's kind of getting it a little bit more.
Okay, so now he's at least joking around with you a little bit, right? He's kind of pulling your chain a little bit.
He's joking about it, but he's not really affected.
Oh, yeah, my dad's kind of like that, where he accepts it. He's not all into it, but I mean, it's like some things where what I don't understand about the Mandela effect is why we have these common Mandela effects, all right, but then we have these individual ones that only affect certain people. Like, I find that really weird.
The personal ones.
Personal ones, right. Yeah, the personal ones are real. And that's when you really know. Like when you had a pair of your favorite pants that had a big rip in the butt, and then they were stored. Yeah. And they were stored because you just couldn't let them go. So you put them in the attic, and a year later you go back and you go, oh, okay, maybe I'll get these repaired. And they're as good as they were when you bought them, and you're like, huh? And then you're happily wearing them for 2 weeks, and then they rip in the exact same spot where you remember them ripping before. That's so happened to me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've had some personal effects too, and I joked about a year ago. It's like one of my favorite Chinese restaurant changed. Okay, and I know it changed because the name is so silly now. And I was like, oh come on, man. And I even called them and I was like, when did you guys change your sign? When did you do all this stuff? And they were like, we've never changed our sign. It's always been that way. And I'm like, no, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. And I was like, dude, I joked on my broadcast and said, when the Mandela Effect starts to mess with my egg rolls, that's where I draw a line. Don't mess with my egg rolls.
Your chickens or your egg rolls.
Yeah, don't mess with my chicken or my egg rolls. Right. Now, I was going to ask you, Brian, as far as like waking people up. Now, I know we all have done this. I know we've all talked to people. How have you had any luck waking people up around you to the Mandela Effect? How has that been for you?
Risky. I mean, I am one of those people. I'm not afraid of taking risks. I go out and I talk to people. I'm very sociable. I was at the bookstore and I think I woke up my friend who works at Best Buy. I did a video on that where we were talking about that whole thing. What's that movie? It's the not The Life of Brian, but what's that other one? The Holy Grail. Yeah, we were discussing the whole Monty Python Holy Grail. There's like 5 different things that people remember,
Right.
But I could have sworn up and down, it was one way. And do you? I know. I don't want to push the Mandela effect on people to the point where they're gonna be turned off by it. If I can sense things better now that I'm awake. Do you guys notice that you can sense things better?
Yeah. It's called hyper awareness.
Yeah, I definitely don't like pushing the Mandela effect on people. If they're willing to accept, it's like I was at Kohl's. Huh?
Well, it's like this, Brian. The way I would describe it is this: there are people that I've just decided now that are ready to be awakened, and there's some that are just not. Okay, and so when I talk to them, the best example is like when I was at the store the other day. I was buying some vegetables, and the vegetable section. There was a nice lady there, and she was reorganizing. And I said, "Well, how long have you worked here?" And she said, 3 years. And I said, "Huh?" I said, "Do you remember Haas avocados?" And she goes, "Yeah, we have those." And I said, "Cool. How's it spelled?" And she was like, HAAS. And I go, "Awesome." I said, "Awesome. Come here. Let me show you something." And I walked over to the sign and I said, "How did that sign change?" And she goes, "Weird." She goes, "It is HASS." And I go, "It is. And look how old it is. It's very old. It's not like a brand new one." So I remember Haas just like about a month ago, they were here. So what happened to them? She goes, "Me too." So then I knew she was open to hearing more. So, and that's how I kind of gauge people. I kind of test them first, and then I bring it up because I've learned, man, if you just try to walk up and try to like talk about the effect, they'll start listening to you, and the first one they might be, "Oh, that's weird." The second one, they're like, "Oh, okay, man, wow, look at the time. I gotta go."
Yeah.
And then the other one's like, the third time, they're like, "Dude, you know what? I think, let me pull out my cell phone and put 911 on speed dial." So well, yeah, I've just learned this. You have to test people first.
And you can't help it too that a lot of the time, we're getting bombarded by spam from. I don't know how many times a day I get called by companies and they change their number to match my local number, so I think it's someone local, but it's actually, one of those spam callers. So we're constantly getting bombarded by things, and then to have someone walk up to you, you think they're going to sell you something, I'm sure, or try to get you to go to church with them or something. The thing is, I see myself. Okay, I'm not trying to sell something to them. I'm trying to wake them up. I'm doing them a benefit. I don't know. Usually I try to ask them what do they remember. Most of the time I can win it home with JFK. The 4 people in the car. I mean, most people remember 4 people in the car, hands down. And then there's some other ones. Are you guys still with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we're here.
Oh yes, I'm here. I'm just muted out so I can listen in.
No, that's cool. You know, you think about